Hey there, Baconites. It's your host, Jeremy. Welcome to another wonderful edition of the Bellingham Anime Podcast. Today's episode is recorded from inside the Bellingham Public Library. This isn't a sponsor, but I just wish it was. So, my guest today is a very special guest. You know her, you love her, she's your mom, grandma, aunt, cousin, girl we stare at from across the classroom, secretly wishing that we could talk to her, but we're too shy, but one day she lets us borrow her eraser and we become best friends. She's the scrapbooking mom that stays up way past when she should because she knows she has to get her kids up early for school, but she just can't stop. She's the scrapbooking mom that brings us together, and also the glue in the scrapbook that binds us together. Please welcome Jennifer Lovchik. Jennifer, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm going to strike the grandmother. Other than that, totally me.
Not quite that old yet. So, you've been doing the teen stuff and the anime stuff for so long. I got into this in 2013, and you were right there at the front lines. You're kind of playing a little bit of a back role right now, but you're still doing a lot when it comes to anime night, Toshokan, game night, things like that. So how did that get started? I actually started reading comic books myself when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And then I discovered manga when I was in library school. Yes, that's a thing. And I started reading Ranma One Half and Battle Angel Alika, and what else? Parasite. And I was just very into Japanese culture and Japanese stuff. And so in 2001, I know it's before many of you were born. Oh, wow, yeah.
That's when I became the teen librarian here. And I started the first graphic novel collection, and it was peppered with manga. And I had seen some anime. I'd seen the Ranma One Half anime. I had watched Barefoot Gen. And it was pretty early still in the hadn't really become big in the United States. But in 2007 is when I started Anime Night. We started by watching Tensei Muyo, Fruits Basket, Full Metal Alchemist, some of the standards. And I started it because the kids wanted it, because anime is awesome. I'm certainly not into it like I once was. It was a lot easier when there were like 10 to choose from, and now there's like 10,000.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a little trickier, but that's why, and it has stayed popular for almost 10 years.
I actually recall, in 2004, I had moved away from Washington, and when I came back was in 2007. Pretty much all of my friends had sort of moved on. I hadn't really kept correspondence with them, or if I had, they had picked up other interests and stuff like that. And so one day I went to the library. I don't even recall why. It may have been around 2008, actually, because if I'm not mistaken, it was me needing to do some summer school stuff. And I recall I was looking around, and my mom pointed out, hey, there's an anime thing. And at the time, I was really kind of getting into it around 2008. I'd enjoyed it previously, I'd watched on Cartoon Network and stuff like that, but beyond that, didn't really have any friends that were into it, didn't really know anybody that was into it, and so all of a sudden there was this opportunity, and I was like, it's probably full of, angsty 16-year-olds, and I didn't go.
There are always angsty 16-year-olds.
There really is,
There's less angst in the anime subculture fandoms than in many other teen places.
It definitely seems that way, yes. Having, been going to this, as I said, for several years, I can't recall if I went to Anime Night first or if I went to BayCon. I probably went to Anime Night first. Once or twice, just because I had a few friends that attended. They were a few years younger than me, but I was still in high school, so, I was like, whatever, I'm going to hang out with some friends at the very least. And there was just, it was a kind of cool atmosphere, and it was back when we were in the other room.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, across the hallway. And that was a pretty fun time. And then, I know, it grew, and now we're in this room. And
it's giant.
Yeah, this huge conference room,
And it was because of the popularity of Anime Night that I decided that we needed an all-day event.
Yeah. And I was actually going to ask, do
you want me to go there?
Yeah, I would love to, because I don't know much about, where it all started, so I would love to hear it.
So in 2010, I probably thought of it in 2009, 2010. I had just a bunch of teens that were saying, hey, we want to, watch anime all day. We want to dress up. We want to do stuff. So I started the first all-day anime con, and that's what we called it. It was the one year before Baycon hit the streets. And 20 kids came and watched Full Metal Alchemist and Fruits Basket, and we had a cosplay contest and some prizes and stuff, and it was incredibly low-key, and it was the beginning of the monster that we now call Baycon.
I mean, I can imagine, just 20 people versus the several hundred that we had.
We had over 700 last year. Yeah, paid attendees.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was 2010. In 2011, we moved it over to the Fairhaven Library, and we took over the entire downstairs.
I do recall that.
And that was the first year of the famous ramen eating contest, which we had for a few years, but we've stopped because of liability issues.
I was actually wondering about that.
That ramen is hot, and I just knew it was a matter of time before someone burned their tongue and sued me for it. So we stopped the ramen. But in 2010, 11, and 12, I think we did ramen eating contests.
Yeah.
In 2012, we moved back over here to the downtown library. And in the intro, you said that we weren't a sponsor, but we are totally a sponsor. The library will always be wrapped up in Baycon. But anyway, in 12 and 13, we were here at the downtown library. We had a lid on how many people could come because of the size of the venue, and we capped it at 250. And so for 13 and 14, we hit that cap both years in a row. So I knew that in order for it to prosper and grow, it had to move to a different space.
Yeah.
And it was in 2015 that Jarrett joined the ranks and has become the guiding light for the new Baycon. We moved to Whatcom Community College. The first year we were at Syrie, last year we were at Heiner, and next year, drum roll please, we are at Syrie, Heiner, and the gym area.
Whatever it's called. Yeah. I mean, that's, I loved it. I remember enjoying the 2015 event. It was cramped a little bit, and that one hallway was really cramped, but beyond that, it was a lot of fun. I did break my prop on accident. That was unfortunate. Luckily, I was able to glue it back, afterwards, but I was able to glue it and fix it, so...
Cons are dangerous places for props.
It's actually funny because it wasn't even a lot of times, something gets broken, a lot of people go, oh, somebody bumped into me. This was entirely my fault. I thought it was more sturdy than it was. There was some PVC pipe, and I swung my arm, and the PVC pipe came out of its socket and just went flying. So the pipe broke a little bit, and then there was a clay tip that also broke off. But
did you take anybody out?
I did not. It was actually, I think it was when the cosplay contest or something was starting, because we were just outside, and I believe you were the one who came out, or somebody came out and said, okay, something's going on inside, let's all come in. And I was like, awesome, and I swung my arm, and it shattered right as everybody was going inside. So,
crying.
Yeah, luckily it's fixed now. Of course, I haven't worn the costume in a while because it's not even done. It was sort of a preliminary. It was an original character that I came up with. So it was like a preliminary costume, and I still have yet to finish it just because there's so much work and I'm not sure where to start with it. But I mean, it's been a lot of fun just going the past few years. My first Baycon was kind of funny because it was at the other library, and I remember I didn't really know what to do. I knew two people that were there. Some 40-year-old man said "for the lulz," which kind of threw me for a spin. But I remember I watched a little bit of Oran, and then I got bored. I got up. There was the ramen eating contest I remember seeing. There was one guy that I was friends with who left early, and then there was the karaoke thing, and I remember I walked up to the girl that was running it, and I was like, so what songs can we do? And she just looks at me and she goes, it's called We Don't Have an Actual Karaoke Machine, just sing. And the guy in front of me, like, had, like, just headphones in and was, like, singing to Stone Sour, and I was like, I'm not gonna sing, so I went up, and you might recall this, because I went up and I just recited Charlie the Unicorn, or not Charlie the Unicorn, the Llamas with Hats is what I did. I did Llamas with Hats. Yeah. And, like, afterwards somebody came up to me and was like, can you do episode 4 or whatever, like, episode 3, and I was like, sure. And it was just... like that was the entirety of my experience.
Yeah, they were pretty low budget affairs in the early days, financed strictly off of donation and the Friends of the Library. But now we actually became a nonprofit last year, and are self-funded. We're trying to make it support itself.
Yeah, I know there have been a few people. There was actually one person that I offered her the chance to be on this, and she said it was kind of cool. But what was so funny is I said, like, in the message, because I didn't have her email, so I sent it over Tumblr, and there's a character limit on messages that you can send. So I tried condensing it as tightly as possible, and I said, like, if you want, I guess I could pay you a little bit or something like that. And, like, you know, a few days passed, and she goes, yeah, you know, that seems pretty cool. She didn't say you have to pay me or you don't have to pay me, and that was, I think... after I did the first episode, so I don't, like, you know, we haven't had any correspondence because I'm still trying to get everything figured out, but I don't know, like, if...
For the podcast, you're going to pay her?
I don't know if she needs me to, or, like, or if I can write that off as, like, from my pocket, or, like, the whole... I don't know what's going on. So.
I'll buy some Pocky, you can give it to
her.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, she's a I don't want to say big artist, but she's a popular artist online. You know, she's got all kinds of talents under her belt, which is why I wanted to get her on, is just because she's made it, you know, and she's fairly local, and a lot of people just know her by name. So I kind of wanted to try it.
Now you've put that song in my head. Thank you very much.
Which song?
21 Pilots, Fairly Local.
Thanks,
Jeremy.
No, it's great though. Like. I enjoy being able to do this, though. Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah.
I know we've struggled getting this episode done for a little bit, and then of course twice on the bus while coming here. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to because some guy cut us off like really close.
Gosh.
Like, you know, when you're on the bus, like you're too high to like be able to see too much. Like I didn't see his taillights. I saw like the top of the antenna on his car, which tells you exactly how close he was to us. And then some other guy tried running a red light while we were going through the intersection. So I was like, "Am I gonna make this?
Is this
just?"
A dangerous place.
Yeah, I don't think the world wanted us to have this.
It's my fault.
I mean, it's not entirely.
I was sick, so it's actually, you know, some kind of virus's fault the last time.
Yeah, the last time, and then like before that, we just couldn't get together for whatever reason.
Remember. I'm sure it was my schedule.
It's
a little crazy.
Yeah. I understand, believe me.
But Bacon is near and dear to my heart, and as is anime and anything to support fandom groups, especially teenage fandom groups. I'm not a huge anime fan, which a lot of people are very surprised by. I have watched some, and I'm a huge fan of some. I loved Death Note, and I love Fruits Basket. I'm a huge Fruits Basket fan. Not the anime, but the manga. The anime is kind of cruddy, and it stops midway. But and I dabble in a few other fandoms, and I really like the fact that Bacon and Anime Night and Toshocon pull in people that are. It's more than just anime. It's a misnomer to call it Anime Night or Bellingham Anime Con, because it's really about fandoms and celebrating your passion. I'm a huge Supernatural fan. I'm a huge fan of a couple book series, so I totally get the passion.
Yeah.
But I never know who anybody is cosplay says. I mean, I've dabbled in cosplay. The first I was Ryoga from Rama One Half.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen the pictures. Yes.
My daughter was Shampoo, and we went to AkiCon, and it was super fun. And then a couple years ago, I went to ScurCon and was what was I? I was Lady Rainicorn
from Adventure Time.
Yeah,
that's the one I
Time.
Distinctly remember seeing pictures of. And your daughter was Marceline, right?
She was Marceline.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And then we kept meeting up with other people from Adventure Time, and it was really super fun.
Yeah.
But it takes an awful lot of time, which is not something I have, and a lot of crafty skills, which is something I totally don't have. So,
I know what you mean there,
too. I would like to just watch people in costume. That's why I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
and that's what ToshoCon's all about. ToshoCon started, that means library in Japanese, and it happens on miscellaneous Fridays throughout the year, and it's basically an excuse for people to wear costume or some level of costuming and watch YouTube videos and hang out.
I've been to a few ToshoCons. I've mostly been to Anime Night, and that's just because in my experience it's a little bit more popular, or at least it was when I was...
Yeah, no, Anime Night pulls in a lot more people.
Yeah.
ToshoCon's really just a social event with YouTube videos.
Yeah, I actually remember there was one time I couldn't remember the name of a video, so I signed into my YouTube account to look it up because it was in my history, and then videos through my account.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
which it wasn't like a negative thing, but all of a sudden there were a whole bunch of videos that I was like, why is the... and then it was like recommending me things, and I was like, I don't want that. There was that one song that I remember everybody always says that you always play, that I can't think of the K-pop song.
Was it G-Dragon or Big Bang?
Oh jeez, I don't remember.
It was probably
I think there's gas masks involved at some point in the video.
That's Big Bang. And then I can't remember what it's called. But yes, I always play Big Bang or G-Dragon because they're awesome.
And it showed up, and I just remember going, oh, I did not realize this was happening right now because I had forgotten.
Oh yeah. No, it's fun. My 7-year-old son uses my YouTube account, and so I'm always getting Pokemon notices or Markiplier is live now. And I'm like, okay, yay.
Yeah, I know. There are times where I get notifications on my phone, and I'm like, I really don't care. Like, yes, it's a channel that I'm subscribed to, but like I'll be subscribed to like Machinima, for example, because like I want to see like funny video game things, and it's like Machinima's live now, and then they go on for 3 hours and they're talking about a game that I don't have any interest in. They're probably talking about Call of Duty, so it's like, cool, great, that's nice to know. Whatever, bye.
Call me when you start talking about cat evolution.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Actually, you mentioned Pokemon, and I did want to bring up, so Pokemon Sun and Moon just came out.
I know.
I am super excited, but I'm also really sad because I'm 99% sure I'm getting it for Christmas, so I can't buy it right now.
Oh,
which
that's not fair.
I'm just
but
like...
you could. What do you think you're getting for Christmas? Buy the other one.
Well, I don't want the other one. I only wanted Moon. I don't want Sun, really. If I need anything from Sun, I'll do some trading. But I've been super ecstatic. I actually, the day before the game came out, I went on Reddit just looking to see if there was any like leaks, because most of the time when new Pokemon games come out, they release the entire Pokedex just before the games come out. This time they didn't do that. So, but I knew that when they put out the demo, that there were they put out like practically the full game just like condensed, so there was a lot of data mining going on, and people were pulling files left and right to kind of get a look at it. And I went on Reddit and I found that there was a list of all the new Pokemon, and I really wanted to see it. Thing was, it was only their name.
No pictures?
No pictures. So I was like, what's the point?
So what's the Moon Pokemon?
Its name is Lunala. It's a giant bat.
Awesome. And what's the Sun Pokemon?
The Sun is Solgaleo, and it's a big lion.
Ooh.
And what was so funny is I'm pretty sure Lunala is a dark type, which doesn't make, that makes sense. But Solgaleo isn't a fire type, which confused people. It's a psychic and steel type. And I don't know exactly, I don't know all the details, but I know it's not supposed to be like the fire lion. It's supposed to be a symbol from like alchemy or something like that.
So it's probably not orange.
No, it's white with like a big kind of spiky mane, used way too much hair gel kind of mane with like some orange and red and yellow kind of accents around it. And then it has like a blue kind of face mask.
Yes, I'm sure I will also be inundated with this. I think though my kids have asked for Sun. I'm fairly sure they're looking for Sun.
Yeah, I mean it looks super good, and actually I found out today as well. So for the past couple of Pokemon games, since Black and White came out, they haven't released a third game in the series. Black and White kind of did something different where they made Black 2 and White 2, which was like kind of sequels, I guess. And then when they released X and Y, everybody's like, where's Z version? And it never happened. So people were really confused about that. What news came out recently is that the third game of the Sun and Moon series, there would be a third one, but it wouldn't be for handhelds necessarily.
Just Wii U? Or?
Not Wii U. They're actually saying that it's going to come out for the Nintendo Switch, which is that new console that they're bringing out. Which is kind of an interesting concept, that they're going to go from, like, you know, as 3D as you can get on a 3DS to, like, full console power. But I think that would be kind of cool, because I don't think they've done a Pokemon RPG game since the GameCube.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And it definitely would probably help sell consoles.
Definitely.
Crowded market of consoles.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read too much. I have read that, like, it's going to be the cheap, looking at, like, all of its abilities and everything. Like, it's supposed to be about as powerful or so as an Xbox One, but it's going to be cheaper. Probably by, like, $20, honestly, but even still. Yeah, it'll be more family-friendly games.
Do you know when it's due out?
I want to say spring of 2017.
Not like I can't Google it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to say it comes out in spring, but I can't say for certain. There was actually a guy who recently posted a video to YouTube saying, "Oh my god, I got my own Nintendo Switch. It's nowhere near the market."
Is it in Japan yet?
No, that's it's. I'm pretty sure it's having a worldwide release date, but
okay.
it's like, you know, it hasn't hit any markets or anything like that, and everybody's like, "Where did he get this?" And like, he was live streaming when it happened, and he was freaking out and like showing it. It was fake though, and the reason people noticed that it was fake, like the most glaring thing, was that the font that they used for the buttons was wrong. And that was apparently it. Like, it was like, you know, he's pulling it out, and he's like showing off the controller and like all this other. It looked perfect except for the font. And
gamers know these things.
Apparently so. I mean, this guy was losing his mind over getting the Switch, and it wasn't even real.
That's hilarious.
I mean, he knew it wasn't real, but he wanted to make this people in his stream think it was and make them lose their minds. I mean, he's like jumping off camera and like falling over and like all this other stuff, and you're thinking like, oh my god, this guy is the luckiest man on earth. He has the first. It's not out anywhere. I doubt it's.
I think I would be thinking he's full of it.
I doubt it's off the, and any of them are off the assembly line right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not ready yet. They just came out with the trailer for it, like the actual announcement trailer, around the beginning of November, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or the end of October.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about it, so.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a cool console, because what you can do with it is, you know, you sit there, you plug it in, and then you can take it with you.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Wii U?
So basically what happens is the console itself has a screen in it, and if you take the controller apart, you can slide each half of the controller over the screen inside the console and then lift it and bring it with you.
Wow.
And,
that's fancy.
You know, it has like a kickstand, so you can...
Convertible console.
Exactly. So it I believe it only has like a 3-hour battery life when you take it off. But even still, you know, you can do that, and you can like go outside and play your video game, you know, like... And of course, a lot of people were excited because one of the games that they showcased was new footage. It's like, apparently they're done with Splatoon. Like, they're not doing any more, like, you know, they're not doing any more things with it. There was new Splatoon stuff in the video, so everybody's like, it's Splatoon 2. Everybody's like, you know, because there was new character customization that it looked like, and stuff like that. I think like some new tools. So it looked really cool. Everybody was just super excited. They also showed off footage from Skyrim Remastered. But then what was so funny is when you look at the companies that are backing it, Bethesda isn't listed at all.
Oh.
So they just kind of threw it in there, I guess, you know, to kind of, I mean, I'm sure it'll have the capabilities to run something like that, but as of right now, Bethesda doesn't have anything planned to come out for the Switch.
And what are the graphics? Are they comparable?
More than likely. I mean, I know the Wii U is probably closer to like the previous gen in terms of graphics, but I'm sure that by the next one, because they really wanted to kick it up and try and, because the Wii U sold very poorly.
Yeah.
They're actually done with it now. I don't think they're making any more. So they're trying to get up in the game and actually become
Just be novelty.
Yeah, they want to actually be players, which hopefully there will be something good that comes out of that. I know the mini NES system that just came out too sold out just about everywhere in half an hour. Yeah. Everybody wanted it.
Well, I should mention we're talking about video games, and part of BayCon over the last couple of years has been the active participation of Reset Games, running our game room, which has been super popular.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
for sure.
something people can look forward to. In 2017, May 13th, 2017, and Heroes Resources up in London will be running their D&D tournament.
Oh, they're doing a D&D tournament this
Yeah.
year. Ooh.
They did one last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot
but you were
about
too
that.
busy working.
Yeah, I was. Working or running off to make or Dairy Queen is.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah.
I missed last year almost. I was at the registration table the entire day, so I was not a participant.
Like, I knew that we had, like, the photographer, so I didn't really take any... Like, I took, like, the one picture for Twitter, and then I was like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I don't have a walkie-talkie. My friends are here. They're hungry. Let's go by. And, like, you know, I came back, and, like, you know, I came back, and at least I helped out. You know, I didn't just, like, abandon. When I came back, I helped around Artist Alley a bit with Nikki, and I helped around with some planning of stuff, and...
Well, and that's kind of how, when you start getting involved in BayCon, how it works. Typically, the first year, you're kind of a runner. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of just doing odd tasks to see what works for you. And I think you had started the social media stuff, but you hadn't gotten really into it.
Right, and I mean, that was the thing, is I wasn't really sure, like, what to do for the most part. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm trying to get more. That's partially what the podcast is all about, is it's trying to create a little bit of outreach. It's trying to help people find out about us, and for us to find out more about other people.
Yeah, and I just like to say, anybody listening, if you want to be involved in BayCon, it's not a huge commitment. The first year, you can just like hang out and do little odd tasks and help out however you're comfortable, and then slowly gain your confidence and your understanding and take on bigger and bigger roles.
Exactly.
And we do need people. We always need people.
I mean, last year we had, we had 7 people on staff, mm-hmm. and it went pretty smoothly, but there were a few hiccups along the way, especially at the con. So, you know, there was just times where we just didn't have enough people, or we weren't sure what was going on. So having more people, having more volunteers, if you're interested, definitely check that out. You can check it out on the website.
Bellingham Anime Con. It's going to be 3 times as big.
Yeah, so we need multiple people checking out multiple areas of the con.
And we are working on getting some good voice talent, some musical talent. We'll have a much bigger designated artist space. So there's a lot to look forward to. And volunteering or being involved gets you in for free.
Which, you can't pass that up. Like, there were a couple of volunteers that I saw last year, you know, and they pretty much did the same thing. If they saw something or somebody told them help, they did. And then they would go off and do their own thing. And then... You know, as long as you're there to help out at least a little bit, you know, to get things running smoothly, you know, you can still have fun. You can still do your own thing.
Oh yeah, you don't have to sit at a table for the entire day. That's just me.
Literally, yeah. I think, yeah, it was like you and
Jarrett was pretty busy the entire time.
Yeah, and Ben was sitting at his table doing the peace bonding and stuff, right? Yeah,
security.
But beyond that, it was mostly, you know, the rest of us just kind of ran around, did what we wanted. I think Cambria actually went home at one point to change.
Yeah, well, she had a panel that night. And
yeah. We're
going to be looking for panel submissions in the new year, so keep your eyes open for that.
Because we want more people, you know. But pretty much what I think is super great for congoers this coming year is that we looked at every major complaint, and there weren't too many, but we looked at every major complaint and we found a way to fix it. Mm-hmm. There may be complaints in the future, and we'll address those when we get them, but for now I think that everybody's going to be pretty satisfied. The only foreseeable thing that I can think of right now, and that's so many months in advance, we just don't have enough people to take care of it. But months later, we're going to have more people. I think it's, as long as we have more staff, it's going to go great.
We'll make it work. The biggest snafu last year was the registration, lack of badges, and that was simply because we went from 300 in 2015 to over 700 in 2016, and nobody anticipated that kind of growth. So we're anticipating some growth this year. We're hoping that we will not be caught unawares again. But everybody's pretty understanding, and I think everybody seemed to have a really good time. And that's really what it's about. It's there because there's just no warmer, more fun place than an anime and fan con. I
had so much fun. Just was super.
And just think it's awesome, and I do look forward to it. And just like, hey, it's the founding gen. But for the time being, I'm involved. I'm basically finance and registration, and give my opinion on things. But I'm letting the people who are really knowledgeable about anime make all the anime decisions, the fan decisions, because I don't know. I've watched like 4 episodes of many animes, and that's about as far as it gets.
Exactly. Actually, speaking of which, so the most recent anime night, we watched Yuri on Ice.
We sure did.
The episode that came out after we watched sent people so far out of their minds.
So is that number 7?
Yes.
Okay.
So episode 7 kind of blew open the floodgates a little bit. So for a lot of these sports anime, there's undeniable there's some homoerotic tension.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, like you watch and it there's always like that one scene where you're like you want something to happen just like in Free, there's a particular scene where Rin presses hard right up against a fence and gets his face really close, and he just kind of growls at him angrily and then leaves. Episode 7 of Yuri on Ice. Victor and Yuri. It was Victor actually tackled Yuri onto the ice, full lip contact.
That's why I was calling it Yaoi on Ice.
Exactly, but so many people were expecting it to be more of the same, of like they want us to think that they're gay but Teasing. They're not. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it was there. And so many people were losing their minds about it. I mean, I personally haven't watched too much. I watched that bit while we were at anime night. It made me want to watch more, but just knowing that was kind of like...
Well, I'll tell you, I used to watch Bleach, and I watched it up to about like 126 or something. And I had to stop watching it because I love shoujo. I kept shipping every character in my mind, and they never ever hooked up.
Yep.
So it's so nice for me to watch an anime where people actually get together or something without, I mean, some of them take it a little too far, but
a little bit.
To me, because of the type of anime I do like, I'm like, oh yay, it's not just teasing the audience, there's something there. Now, whether or not people are going to be up in arms because it's yaoi and because it's boys, I like personally I like the animes that are fun but not over the top. I once showed. So here's the pros and cons of anime for me. I once showed Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh,
at
no.
Anime night. I have never had a quieter room of teenagers. Never again.
No.
Watch that. And then we once watched Peach Girl.
I recall Peach Girl,
which
yes.
was horrifying. It's so passive-aggressive drama relationship. Seriously, the characters are horrible. They just create their own... Yeah, it was horrible, and so never again on that one.
My friend actually brought the series over to my house once, and had me watch it and like left it at my house, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this, and I just kind of put the DVD up, and I said, I'm not gonna watch this. I'm gonna wait until she comes back because I'm not gonna watch this.
It made me really want to throw the DVD. That was the kind of and I don't usually have that kind of emotional response to things, but it was really atrocious.
It was. It was.
I think probably the best animes we've watched. I don't know that you can get better than Full Metal Alchemist as far as a long-running series, and just because the complexities, it looks so cute, and it's so dark.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing to me, because if you were to just look at it on face value, you'd think it was like, Naruto or Dragon Ball or whatever. But it's way heavier than that.
It really was. There was so much depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, did you see the short trailer for the live-action Full Metal Alchemist
I saw it
film?
posted. I haven't watched it. I'm a little skeptical, having watched the first live-action Death Note, and not being a huge fan. Although I love Ryuk. But we'll see. It could be good. Did you like the trailer?
It was pretty good. It's very vague, though. It doesn't show you too much. It never even shows you, like, anybody's face. Like, it's pretty much just, like...
Is it Japanese?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, pretty much you get to see, like, wispy, like, that was their mom, and then here's Ed slamming his hands on the ground, and then, like, his hair covers his face as he leans his head against, like, a metal chest plate, and then the logo, and, like, that was it.
So it's totally a teaser.
Yeah, it's a very short teaser. It's one of those things that has a lot of people on the fence, but at this point, I probably wouldn't care too much if it's terrible, as long as I get to see Riza Hawkeye trip Roy Mustang to avoid him getting his head blown off by Scar for the fourth time. For the fourth time, as long as I get to see that, I think I'll be okay.
Well, that's the big question. What story are they going to use? I mean, there's the manga, there's the first anime series, there's Brotherhood, which is the manga, right?
Yeah.
That's multi-volume. It's long.
And I do think that it's going to take a while for them to get super far in it. Like, everybody's like, oh man, I have to watch Maze Hughes die. And I was like, probably going to wait until Fullmetal Alchemist 3 to see that.
I just want to see that ice truck episode.
Oh, yeah.
I showed that one on Anime Night, and that's dark.
Oh, yeah.
With the little girl, Chimera.
It's
that was one of the few times that I was like, should I be showing this to 12-year-olds?
I actually have a friend who there's a few scenes in Fullmetal Alchemist that really emotionally affect him, and anytime he tries to, like, make me sad in any way, I can just kind of pull from the list of things and just recite the line and, like, make him... It usually makes him cry. Oftentimes it also ends with me being punched, but it's fun nonetheless, because I loved Madoka Magica. Like, I loved it. And so a lot of times, anytime he sees merchandise that has Mami, he'll always look at me and do every single time. He never misses a beat. He goes, why does she still have her head? Every single time, I'll just look him dead in the eye and go, why are they burying Daddy? He has work tomorrow. Oh boy, it makes him very upset. Either that or I can just bring up Evangelion and bring up how Kaworu doesn't have a head either, and it'll make...
Is that a trope? Is that like an anime trope? People who lose their heads?
Maybe. It's actually, my girlfriend has on her set of keys, she had a Kaworu, like, keychain. But the head was big, the body was small, and it snapped at the neck, so now she just has the head.
She's following along. Just the head or body?
Just the head. She just has the head. And it's like, it was totally unintentional, but there it is. So I think I actually sent my friend a picture of it one time, and he just goes, don't come home. It was entertaining, to say the least.
And I haven't watched anime in any significant amount in quite a long time. I thought I might watch, now I can't remember what it's called, with the scissor blade.
Oh, Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill. But it didn't pull me in. So now I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for something to. Maybe it's going to be Yuri on Ice.
Maybe. I mean, there's some that are actually pretty fun that are short, like very short episodes. There's actually one it's from the production company that made Kill la Kill. They're Studio Trigger, which they also made Gurren Lagann. Okay. And they've made two short anime movies that are actually very cute. They're, like you look at like Kill la Kill, which is like practically naked girls, and then you make these two movies, and they're like very PG, very almost Studio Ghibli-esque, called Little Witch Academia, which they're actually planning on making a series now just because of how popular the two movies were. And then there was also they're like 5-minute episodes, a show called Space Patrol Luluko, which it's like a sci-fi comedy kind of thing. They make a lot of references to their own shows. Like there's literally an entire 2 episodes based just on Kill la Kill. There's one character, I actually love him. He's this cop, like space cop. He's got a flaming skull and like the same triangular glasses that Kamina has from Gurren Lagann, and he's always in the same pose. He always just kind of has like a finger gun up, and that's it. So like But like the only animation is like the flames around his head. Like he's just got a flaming skull for a head. But anytime he needs to move, it's usually like just like a joint at his elbow. So his hand doesn't move in any capacity, but his elbow will move back and forth. And he's always sitting at his desk. So even like when there's an explosion, he's still sitting at his desk, but maybe he's just laying on his side. And it's one of those kind of things that it's very self-referential and it knows that it's ridiculous, but it was funny. The animation was great. It was really cute. There was another one that I watched called Please Tell Me Galko-chan, which is another one. I think they're like 10-minute episodes or so. And it was sort of revolving around like this kind of nerdy girl who knows a lot, and then sort of like busty, like kind of Barbie kind of girl that, she's got the tan and like the blonde hair and all the makeup and everything like that. And a lot of people are like, why are you friends? And a lot of times it's just questions being answered, and sometimes it's actually very educational.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out. I like short ones, especially short ones with content. Like I really enjoyed Polar Bear Cafe, but it doesn't hold up for a long-term viewing.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Banana Cat one. What was that one? It's so cute.
Banana or something.
Banana. I think it's Banana.
Yeah.
Which is super fun once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you watch it and you're like, all right, that was great. I'm done with you. Bye.
Been there, done that.
I know my if you look at my list on Crunchyroll, there's probably close to 60, 70 anime on there. I watched most of them, and there's some that are like, I have to go back and rewatch that. Like, there's one, Makaku City Actors. I watched it as it was coming out, so week by week. I have no idea what happened. I don't know what it was about. I need to go back and watch the entire thing, and maybe it'll make sense. It was good. I enjoyed it. I liked the animation and the characters. What happened is the question.
Who knows?
So there's demons, maybe, and their eyes are red, and that kid can stop time, I think.
Is there anything to do with actors because of the title?
No, it was based on like this actually Vocaloid thing called Kagero Project. And I didn't know about it at first, but there's like this one character I looked at it and I was like, why is Miku in this anime? Yeah. She looks almost exactly like Miku, except she has like some things on her cheeks, and she wears like a sweatshirt with like sleeves that are too long. And I was like, Miku is here, and I don't understand why. And then I found out it was based on it was like a series of songs, I think. Okay. And then they made it into an anime that was based on the music videos for this. It was pretty much the same thing they did with Black Rock Shooter as well. They just kind of said, well, that looked pretty cool. What if we just made an entire thing based on that?
Everything refers back to something else.
I know. I actually remember when I found out about it, I started making all these jokes about how if you look deep enough, everything is Vocaloid. Like, what caused the new flu that's been going around? Just, sir, it's Len. I can just imagine the terrible things. Yeah.
Now leave it to the Japanese. Who knows?
Oh, I know.
They put in their voice synthesizer software.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was actually, I remember going up to because I went to Miku Expo this past year, and I remember as it was coming up, I'd only ever seen footage from one Miku Expo, and they did the holograms slightly differently, whereas sometimes they project them like from the ceiling in like full 3D, and then what they did this time was they projected them onto a screen. Oh. I was like, look, the moment Len comes up on screen, I don't care where I'm sitting in the audience, I'm running up on stage and going to fight him. Because he deserves it. He deserves to get punched. So, of course, like, people are going to watch me, like, try to throw a punch at...
screen.
Yeah. And, of course, I wasn't expecting it to be a screen, so I was really expecting just to run up at a full 3D hologram.
And just punch in the air. Yeah.
Just falling down, have them escort me, like, no, I need this.
So, at Miku Fest, where was that?
That was down in Seattle at the... I want to say it was the WAMU Theater, but I don't know.
The football stadium?
Yes. Okay. Yes, that was the one. And that was actually a lot of fun.
But it's more than just Miku.
Yeah, so okay. It is all of the Krypton Vocaloids. So Miku, Luca, Ren, or Lin and Ren. Yeah, Rin and Len, and Kaito and Meiko. It's mostly Miku, and then like the others come on for like one song each, and then Miku comes back again. And actually, Cambria was there, and I remember we were in different sections, but we knew each other was there. And at one point, Cambria sent me a message after it was done, and she's like, "Don't leave yet." And apparently, there's like there's 2 encores that occur. So of course, like if you don't leave and everybody's cheering, and all of a sudden, you know, she spawns back. And she sits down at her piano, and there was actual live music, which was super cool, from the band Anamanaguchi. They actually opened for her, and then they played the actual instruments, which was super cool. And I have a friend who's a big fan of Anamanaguchi, and I told him one time, I was like, this was like last month, I think, but I sent him a message, and I said, did I ever tell you the time that I accidentally went to and saw Anamanaguchi live? He's like, how do you What? And he was so confused. But it was a fun experience. The one thing that there were 2 things that disappointed me. A, they had some really cool light up sticks that sold out in like 5 minutes. And B, they're on the glow sticks that they gave you. It was like Miku Expo 2016 and Gumi. Gumi never showed. And Gumi is my favorite. So I'm not sure like what that was about. But, of course, you know, stood in line for, like, 30, 40 minutes just to get, you know, some merchandise. And all I got was... I bought a sticker sheet, which I have yet to figure out what to do with it. And then I bought some shirts. They actually gave me the wrong one, but I didn't realize it until after we left. But it was funny seeing, you know, because there was so many people that were cosplaying. You know, Cambria cosplayed as Kaito. Hannah HK Hugs was there cosplaying Miku. There was one person cosplaying a giant leek, which I saw him at first, and it was like made of paper. So I was like, what is he doing? I don't understand what that floppy thing is. And then I saw it from a better angle later. It's like, oh,
it's a leek.
And then for some reason there was somebody cosplaying, I can't think of her name, the maid girl from Rosen Maiden.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Well, you know,
I mean,
you gotta cosplay.
I guess so.
Dress
I considered it, but I was like, I don't want to. It was too much effort.
You don't have any Vocaloid.
I don't have anything Vocaloid related, anyways. But even still, I didn't know that. We went through a whole process just doing it because there was some. I didn't realize they had to have your physical tickets in hand, and I didn't realize that until after we got to Seattle. And so what we had to do was, of course, like we had trouble even finding like our hotel. It was super awkwardly placed. So what I had to do was I had to walk to like FedEx Kinko's, and then they weren't like emailing it properly. I think I was there for about an hour and a half just trying to figure out how to get my tickets printed.
But you got to the show in time.
Yeah, like I mean, luckily we got there hours in advance. Like we got to our hotel hours in advance just because I prefer to do it that way. And of course, we knew we were going to be there late. Didn't want to drive home late at night through Seattle traffic and all that stuff. So I prefer that if at all possible. To like, if you're going to a show, I've been to 3 shows in Seattle. Every single one I've stayed the night just because I felt more comfortable doing so.
I like to too. I end up coming home usually after shows, but I like to get down early enough to have dinner.
Yeah.
Kind of hang out. Although I've never seen a holographic concert. No Miku, no Gorillas. Those are the 2, right?
Yeah. Animated. Well, there's a couple. There's actually one band. I can't remember where they're from. They're from Europe, and they're not super popular, but they're getting up there a little bit. They're called the Studio Killers.
Okay.
They put out their first single came out in like 2010, I believe. It was called "Ode to the Bouncer," and they're sort of like, you know, like a pop group. There's Cherry, who's like sort of this artistic kind of young woman. Are they
animated?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's this Cherry. She's like this artistic woman. There's Dynamink, who is a mink. And then I think the other one is Foxy Fox.
Are they like literally animals?
Yeah, they're literally animals. They've put on a couple live shows over in Europe, and of course when they do that, like
live shows.
Well, it's actually funny because Cherry is the only one that's not physically there. The other 2 are people in costumes, actually playing the instruments. But they put out like a full length record at one point. You know, they've kind of really created this really interesting vision.
I will say right here and now, for all to hear, that I love fursuits. People dressed up as animals. I love it. It's adorable. And there's nothing weird about it.
Yeah.
I think that fursuits get a bad rap.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the stigma definitely came from that episode of CSI.
Well, that, and I know that furry conventions tend to have, that element. All conventions have that element. It's just that it's not well understood.
Yeah.
I'm sure, anime cons are rifled with issues that we try to foresee ahead of time and keep from happening. But anytime you have people dressed as things other than everyday 9-to-5 type people, you're going to have some sort of issues.
Yeah, there was a time actually this past SoccerCon, there was, I don't want to say like it was an incident or anything like that, like nothing really happened, but I found out a couple days after the con, I was on Tumblr, and I was going through the SoccerCon tag, and there was something that had been posted on Yik Yak, which is kind of like, it's a college app usually, but just kind of like
it's like an anonymous posting app.
Yeah. Something apparently occurred with a particular individual. Something pretty inappropriate occurred. I found out that individual later was in the same swimming pool as I was about half an hour later. It was very weird because I pointed it out to my friends. I was like, "Look at this," and they were like, "Was that the dude that we were swimming with?" And I thought about it, and I was like, I can't think of too many other people that would match this description, so probably. It was very... it was interesting.
Yeah, and I think that if the media latched onto, for example, the adult-only content of SoccerCon, it would have a whole different kind of reputation in cosplay and anime fandoms. And that's what happened with fursuits, I think. You've got people who legitimately like the art of creating these characters, and those of us who legitimately like giant stuffed animals. And then you've got a small subgenre, small subset of people who have fetishized it. And it happens in anime groups too. So,
I can't deny that,
So people tend to look at me all funny when I say I like fursuits, but it's an amazing art ability to be able to create those kind of costumes.
Yeah, admittedly, they can be pretty cute. I think my first interaction with one was kind of odd because it was the eyes that got me. And it was the particular way that these eyes had been made, and I'm going to try and describe it as best as I can. They were, the actual eyepiece was like conical, like inverted conical, with, and like you had like the lens that made it, very, but like the inside of it was conical with like, black pupil piece inside. And what this meant is that no matter where you stood, this thing was staring into your soul. And it was terrifying. So I think that's really like my only gripe, is I don't want them to make me feel like I'm about to die. As long... and part of it that also seems to bring that negative stigma is the inability to communicate.
Yeah, and that's why a good handler is really important.
Yeah, I actually have a friend who was very... I don't know if he's still interested. We discussed it either earlier this year or last year, and he was talking about attending a convention out here. He lives in the Midwest. And he said that if he ever, brought a fursuit here, that he would request me to be his handler. Just totally fine. It's just kind of getting that understanding, I think.
Yeah. And some people who start into it don't understand how important that is.
Yeah.
And also how important it is to have fans and cooling abilities, because a convention this last spring called Monster Palooza in Pasadena, which is a horror and fantasy art convention. It's really cool. And the first day I was there, I got to take a photograph with Predator.
Oh, nice,
which was super fun. But the second day I was there's a guy in a absolutely adorable purple dinosaur suit. And I got to take all sorts of pictures, and he was a soft fur guy. And the handler was great, and it's just so much fun. It makes you like a little kid, like when you're in Disneyland, and and so to me, it just lets me be youthful. So I love that. What did I bring up first? Oh, because of the band. So I would love to see someone dressed up like a fox or a raccoon.
Oh, raccoons!
I love Rocket. Is that his name?
Yeah, Rocket Raccoon.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I love. Doesn't hurt that it's voiced by
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
But I love anamorphic animals that can kick but.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, raccoons are one of my favorite
Or
animals.
play bass, whatever.
Yeah. There was actually... some people were looking really deep into, for some odd reason, the Charmin commercials.
Too much spare time, that's what I
guess
think.
so. But there was one where, like, he was going through, like, the metal detector or something, or whatever, and it, like, detected the toilet paper on his butt, I guess, was, like, the premise of the commercial.
So Charmin's made out of metal.
I guess so. But what really brought up the question was, like, why was he going... Like, he was going on a bear plane, clearly.
Yeah.
But why was there such tight security? That means that in this bear world... There are bearerists who want to destroy the free world.
But they don't wear clothing. So how are they sneaking it onto the plane?
They have thick fur, I guess.
It's true.
I don't understand.
Man, that is just... That kind of speculation leads to trouble.
I mean, I actually, just speaking of airplanes, I recall there was a time I was probably about 7 years old. And this is really, like, I used to repeat a lot of stuff that I saw on TV. Not a good idea. I once accused a girl of giving me a swirly just because I really didn't like her.
Oh.
So, there was a time I was on a plane, because I used to fly fairly frequently, at least once a year. And I didn't know what it meant.
No.
So we're just on the plane, and I was like, oh, mayday, mayday. And my mom was just like, shut up. We're gonna go, like, you're gonna go to jail. Well, I mean, I was a kid, so I doubt they would have done much, but I was like, what does that mean? Isn't it just a day in May? And she's like, no, it means we're gonna die.
That is so much like my child. My 7-year-old is always saying things he hears from Jacksepticeye or
no.
Yes, my kid watches a lot of YouTube because he has a teenage sister. And he's always repeating stuff he hears, and I have to explain that's not appropriate for a 7-year-old. And no, don't aim that pretend gun at me.
There was... Recently, speaking of the inappropriateness, and actually this kind of goes back to the very first podcast, Jarrett and I were talking about, like, hearing, like, curse words and stuff like that on TV, and I brought up how in the movie Cars, they use the word hell, and it baffled me because I was like, this is a G-rated movie. So fairly recently, I was watching TV with my friend, and do you know the show The Amazing World of Gumball? There's a line in this children's show where at one point he says, we're all going to be damned. And he didn't mean behind a dam with the water. He legit said we're all going to hell.
Well, I would argue that The Amazing World of Gumball, the regular show, and Adventure Time aren't technically children's programs.
They're kids, like...
They're upper elementary.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, little kids watch them, but there's so much in them.
I mean, a regular show is just a cartoon stoner comedy.
Yeah, but I mean, they all kind of are in the same universe.
A little, yeah.
And Gumball looks younger and seems younger, but it has a lot of kind of sophisticated stuff in there if you're paying attention.
And I have noticed that, but I just thought that was just sort of a nod because, we know that there's adults. You know, same thing with Steven Universe. It is a kid's show, but they're like, we know there's adults watching this, so we got you.
Well, yeah, and Steven Universe is so sweet.
Yeah, that's just a whole other can of worms, really. But I was thinking
about the fact that I watch Bob's Burgers.
Yep.
And I have been known to accidentally watch, like, Cleveland Show or Family Guy.
Yeah.
Or Futurama or any of those more mature animated shows with my 7-year-old. And there's a lot of stuff, I hope, that goes way over their head.
Yeah.
You were smart. You picked out hell at a very early age.
I mean, I was probably like 11, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's the one that's horrifying. I've watched Rick and Morty with my 7-year-old.
Oh, no.
And that's dangerous. We've watched it. There's a lot in here that's completely inappropriate for a 7-year-old.
I mean, the very first episode, he tells him to shove giant seeds up his butt. So
I know it is horrifying, and yet that show's really good.
I recently watched from episode 1 to the final episode.
Did you cry?
I didn't quite cry, but it was it got me though, and I think part of the reason I didn't cry is because I watched it at work, and I was just like, I hope nobody walks in while I'm doing this.
It was the use of her Wasn't it Hurt that they played?
Yeah, I believe
Johnny
so.
Cash
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's coming back, isn't it? I mean, I don't think it's over.
There's a third season. It's supposed to come out before the end of 2016, air quotes.
We'll see.
So, knowing them, it's probably going to drop at like 11:59 on December 31st.
It might be. Maybe,
They're just going to pull that out. So anyways, we're winding down to the end of the hour. So
Rick and Morty will do that too.
Yeah. But thanks again for coming on. I know that we struggled to get this. I think this is like the third attempt at getting this episode, but luckily it all worked out in the end. So I'm glad that I've had you on here, and I'm glad that we were able to just discuss all this stuff and talk about the future of Baycon and the past of Baycon as well. So just knowing all of that. So if there's anything else that you would like to say.
Just thank you and keep on podcasting.
All right, will do. So thanks everybody for listening. Make sure if you're interested on being a guest on the show, make sure that you head over and send an email to bellinghamanime@gmail.com with the subject line podcast, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure to check out the website, bellinghamanimecon.com. We're going to be opening up Artist Alley
within the next few days.
Yeah, within the next few days there should be Artist Alley application. Week, yeah. So those should be open, and hopefully panelist applications will be opening up fairly soon as well.
I think panelists will start in 2017.
Okay,
early 2017.
So very, very soon though we're going to have all the stuff open and available.
Early bird going on right now.
Yep. So if you don't quite get the early, get registered as soon as possible, and hopefully we will get to see all of you there. So thank you very much again, Jen.
Thanks, dear.
And have a good day.